Okay, cool. So, hello, my name is Stefan Gentz. I'm the Senior Worldwide Evangelist at Adobe. And I would talk a little bit about, COVID-19 first and the impact that it had on how we work today. And of course, for most of us, the new normal is working from home. And we do not go to the office anymore. Maybe some of you guys do, and at Adobe, few people do that, like IT guys. But most of us are working from home, and the new normal is, of course, even for such a conference, presenting from home or from everywhere. And instead of standing in front of you guys now on the stage and interacting with you live face-to-face, we do this kind of experience, which is pretty cool, but it's not the same thing like interacting face-to-face, of course. So working from home has a couple of benefits, as we all discovered this year. And for example, you don't have this commuting stress anymore, right? This is a very nice side effect of it. And you're closer to your family and have all these nice experiences with your family, and can have your kids with you, while, especially when they were not allowed to go to school. And you had them with you, sitting on your shoulder while you're drinking coffee and trying to work. And that gave, of course, a little bit more family life into your work life as well. And of course, you had less office stress. So no one is coming into your room except for maybe your kids or your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. And but your colleagues are not suddenly knocking on your door and say, hey, where's this project? Why is it not ready yet? So you have that, and you can just shut down your Outlook if you need focus time, and don't have that kind of experience in the office. And that can be nice as well. And of course, you don't have all these boring meetings where you're sitting in front of each other like, okay. So this is one of the advantages of that as well. And working from home also has a couple of challenges. So these were the positive things, but of course, it's not always just that positive. And one thing that a lot of you and our customers and even myself are missing is you don't have that hands-on communication. So you cannot stand next to your engineer or software developer and sit in front of the same screen or in front of the same machine or whatever, and get that hands-on discussion about what you have to describe as a technical communicator, for example. And that is one thing that is missing. And of course, sitting at home in your home office and having no colleagues sometimes can also be a little bit lonely, and can also make you feel a little bit isolated. And especially when you're not even allowed to meet your friends, maybe because there's some sort of lockdown again. And of course, it also changed the way and when we work to a lot of late night working. I noticed that even in my own team here with my colleagues, that they're all working sometimes in the late night, because over the day you were taking care of the family and couldn't finish everything. And then you're suddenly working in the night and find yourself burning the midnight oil at around still working at midnight. I'm personally a midnight guy, so for me it's okay, and I have my creative hour there, but it's also something that makes it a little bit difficult, that situation that COVID-19 had exposed on us. And one big challenge that we have all is you're closer to the family, so that can also be a little bit stressful, and is not always as positive as I highlighted it at the beginning. And there's another thing that this remote working situation brought to us, and that is there are the technical challenges that come from working from home, or maybe working from everywhere. So internet connection is one thing. Not everyone is sitting or living in the big city. Maybe you're living on the countryside. Maybe you have a weak internet connection. At least here in Germany, we have that situation that people on the countryside often have a very slow internet connection, and then working from home is not that much of fun, because you have to wait a long time until you get your files downloaded or uploaded or checked out and checked in, whatever. And that can be frustrating and challenging at times. or if you have just a small mobile band connection, maybe. And IT support is also a challenge, because your IT, you cannot just go with your laptop to your IT cafe in your company and ask your IT guy, oh, can you please fix that machine? It just doesn't work anymore and I don't know what to do. And that remote IT support is a little bit more challenging than if something is broken on your machine or it doesn't start up anymore or whatever. So these kind of challenges are also there. And of course, online meetings. Yeah, we all know them more than enough this year, and I don't even want to talk a lot about them, but online meetings have their own challenges, and it's sometimes not easy to connect, and every session starts with a, can you hear me? So all that is a technical challenge that we all face, and it sometimes can be a little bit frustrating as well. And there's one more thing that we all have to discuss, and that's content management. And maybe you had the situation that you were collaborating with your colleagues next to your desk and could easily throw them over the files by email, or just tell them, oh, please find them in folder XY on the local network. And these kind of content management challenges are suddenly there, or were suddenly there for many people. And with that, it suddenly became super important that you can access the content and the content repository and your assets more easy than what you could do before. And that showed us, or the Corona crisis showed us, a lot of weaknesses, of course, in the society. Think of sold out supermarkets where the toilet paper was suddenly sold out. But it also showed a lot of weaknesses that we face in companies today. And a lot of companies still these days, half a year later, after it rocked off, so to say, are still facing some weaknesses. And the main weakness is the lack of digitalization and the availability of online collaboration solutions. So sending around files by email is still in many companies a daily reality, and or uploading, downloading them through an FTP server. I just had a discussion with a customer a few days back that they're still uploading and downloading files with FTP servers, and instead of collaborating properly together in an online platform. So in December 2019, many companies were still a lot behind, but in December 2020, I'm sure a lot of, or mostly the companies with a strong digital backbone will have survived this crisis in a proper way. And having that digital backbone and having that online collaboration capabilities, that is a competition differentiator for many companies today. So the Corona crisis also showed that change can happen, and it can happen surprisingly fast if the need for change is big enough. And that was something that surprised me to see this year, that things like digitalization and online collaboration were discussed for so many years. And suddenly this year, especially in March, April, May, suddenly all these dreams were coming true. All the things that we had been asked for as technical communicators for online collaboration solutions, they were suddenly all possible. And suddenly budget was there to invest into IT and in remote working and so on. And sometimes I was surprised how fast that was going in some companies, and maybe you have been surprised about that in your company as well, that suddenly the change was possible and it was implemented very fast. How was your experience? So put that in the chat. I'm interested to read that after this presentation. So online collaboration, that thing. When you look into Google and Google Trends, you will see how that curve went up starting in March to big peaks. Everyone was searching for online collaboration solutions, and that Google trend clearly shows how important that became. And the thing is that the expectation for collaboration today has changed. So we expect that we even can access content and author content, maybe even, or at least review content, even on our mobile devices, and quickly do that. And we want to collaborate from everywhere and on every platform. We want to do that. We want to have full-fledged experience on the desktop. We want to also be able to review content maybe quickly on our mobile phone or on a smart tablet or iPad or Samsung tablet or whatever. So we want to have that collaboration experience on all platforms and all devices. And we're no longer really willing, or at least a lot of us are no longer willing to be restricted and tight and bound to one single platform or one single device or type of device to be able to, for example, review some content. And I would say desktop silos are so yesterday. So this is actually not a sentence that I came up with. It was a customer who was coming up, who I was talking to over the phone. And the lady said, desktop silos are just yesterday. And if you're just bound to your desktop machine that you had in your office with that big screen and keyboard and mouse, and so if you're bound to that and your content is living there and maybe living on a shared network drive or so, that is just not working anymore. And this suddenly happening shift has clearly showed that. So of course, a lot of companies went to cloud solutions over the last half year. And the question is cloud only the right answer? And I'm not so sure about that. Working in the browser is great, and a lot of companies do that today. And even we at Adobe do that a lot. We work with XML documentation for Adobe Experience Manager, for example, and it's a browser-based solution. And there you can work in the cloud in the browser. But you need an internet connection, so it's not always easy to access it remotely. And accessing it from a desktop tool might be more easy. So I'm going for hybrid content solutions here, and want to propose that. And let me know what you think about that. So I define hybrid content solutions as a mix of cloud services and desktop applications for authoring, reviewing, translating, and publishing content. And I think that is the way to go because it combines the strength and advantages that both solutions have. Pure only cloud solution, cloud only solution is not the right way, I think. A pure desktop solution is not the right way, I think. But a mix of it, where you can decide, depending on the situation and the circumstances you are in, and depending on the kind of device you are working on, a mix of these tools can really add advantage. If you want, you can work in the browser. If you want, you can work on the desktop. If you're completely offline because you're sitting in a train or a plane or whatever, or just on a remote countryside, then a desktop tool is a great thing. And desktop tools have certain advantages as well. So I think a sort of hybrid content scenario, hybrid authoring and publishing scenario is the great way to deal with the challenges. So what is Adobe doing? We invested a lot into that over the last years, and it's all about collaboration and integrations. So we have a lot of connectors in the Adobe Tech Solutions today. We can connect with Adobe Experience Manager, with the Adobe Document Cloud. You can integrate with Git or SharePoint Online and Microsoft Azure DevOps or ServiceNow, Zendesk, Salesforce, and so on. So we have all these integrations and even much more. So you can also connect with Documentum or Data Exchange or Data2, Bluestream, Beson, Schema SD4, Fisher, Tenaris, Cirrus, and so a lot of integrations are built into our tools or provided by our partners. And this enables you to work in the cloud or on the desktop, depending on what you need and what the specific solution is providing. So let me give you a quick example: Adobe FrameMaker, my favorite tool, and Adobe Experience Manager. First, let me guide you through FrameMaker. This is how FrameMaker looks like. In the lower left corner, you have the browse and open and connect to repository and browse URL buttons. and you can connect to an Adobe Experience Manager and browse through the whole asset management there. So you're in a desktop environment here in this scenario, but you're connecting to the cloud server and can access the content there, check it in, check it out, and upload files, download files, check them in, version them, add version comments, and so on. And then you can edit the content on your desktop tool on FrameMaker. So you could even go offline completely and disconnect from the internet, author your content, and when you're back online, you can check it in. So being online is not necessarily a requirement for authoring and publishing content here. And on the other end of the spectrum, so to say, there's the cloud solution, XML documentation for AEM, where you can author the same content in a browser. So what you see here is the browser interface of XML documentation for Adobe Experience Manager, the DIDA CCMS that Adobe has, where you can navigate through the content. You have a tree view, you have a nice WYSIWYG view, or semi-WYSIWYG view of the content, or at least a nice formatted view that makes authoring comfortable and fun. And you can add attributes and elements and all that. And you can also, of course, also reuse content and connect with other topics and reuse parts of other topics or complete topics or just a single paragraph, whatever you want, and do these content references in DIDA. And of course, you can also browse the whole asset repository from AEM Assets, which comes with a full media management and artificial intelligence for auto-tagging images and finding certain elements in an image. Like you could say, I want to search for a person sitting in front of the desktop in an office environment, and the asset management and Adobe Stock will give you these filtered images through artificial intelligence by Adobe Sensei. And Adobe Sensei as an AI engine is built into all these tools today. And example 2, Adobe FrameMaker and Document Cloud. So you can also do these review processes and send a document through Adobe Document Cloud if someone is not able to go through the browser and you don't want them to comment in a DIDA environment. You could also provide them a nice PDF with FrameMaker and invite them. They get a notification, they get an email, invited, and then they can start reviewing your content in the browser. And later on, you can even check these comments and review comments back into FrameMaker, into your DIDA document or any other document that you can edit with FrameMaker. And you can even collaborate with the reviewers, comment and chat with them in the review panel here, and that is even free. So Adobe has made that free. You can everyone who has a browser can actually access your review PDF for free as long as you have invited them for that. And that's a really big thing, because that makes review and online collaboration completely free for everyone in your team, in your company, or even outside of your company, as long as you provide the URL and login credentials to them. And that is really cool, I think, what Adobe has done here to make online review collaboration for free for everyone through the browser. And of course, through Acrobat Reader or Acrobat DC. So even multiple reviewers can comment live at the same time, do the comments and changes, and so on. And just quick last example here, Adobe RoboHelp and Git. This is Adobe RoboHelp. Again, a desktop editor. You can install it on a Mac, you can install it on Windows, and work on both platforms and author your content there. And of course, you can also review your content in an online review service. Again, with the URL, just provide the URL, and everyone who gets this URL can review the content that you author in RoboHelp for free in a browser-based review environment. Pretty cool stuff as well. Here is the integration with Git. So you just set up your connection profile for GitHub and branch, the master, and user ID, and so on, and the private keys. And then you can check in and check out these files with Git, and you can even edit them there, and changes will flow back into RoboHelp. So these kind of online, and Git is a free tool, so you could even invite any colleague who's familiar with Git to provide content there, and you can check it back into your RoboHelp environment and edit it there, and vice versa. So all these collaboration possibilities are there. And again, it's the same philosophy. You can do something in the browser, edit the content there, review the content there, create branches and so on, and at the same time also work in a desktop environment. So depending on the situation you're in, you can do both. So question is, how will you work in the future? And I'm really curious to read that in the chat when I have stopped talking. Will you work cloud only? Or will you remain, if you're still doing it, desktop only? Or will you would you prefer a hybrid scenario where you have both possibilities and collaborate with your colleagues in a hybrid authoring and publishing environment, maybe on a desktop machine sometimes, maybe in the cloud the other time? And how do you want to proceed in your company in the future? And what is the direction your company is taking, and what do you personally think is the right approach? I'm really happy to discuss that. So that's pretty much it. Stay home, stay safe, save lives, and wear your mask. I'm alone here in my room, so I don't wear a mask now. And but if you go out, take care and save us all. And thank you.